we'll do a radio check here in just a second. We'll get out of here. I'm going to dismiss that. All right, have fun out there.
Thank you.
Fellas, give me a thumbs up out that driver's side window. If you can hear me, make sure we're all on the same channel. Perfect, thank you. Alright, if you haven't already, go ahead and make sure both windows are up. Anytime I head out onto the racetrack, I always like to go through a mental checklist just to make sure that everything is as it should be, so we're not taken by surprise when we get out there. First thing I like to do is just check my gauges, make sure temperatures and pressures look reasonable. Again, you may have a low pressure tire warning light on, but as long as those pressures are over 20 pounds, we're in good shape. I like to just check and make sure the cars have fuel in them. Good habit to get into. You don't want to get out there and run out of fuel. Next, I'll look around inside the car, make sure everything's buttoned down. Cell phone should be put away. We don't want anything that might be a distraction out there. Then I'll double check my seat belt, make sure it's buckled and secured. Sometimes it's easy to forget to do that. This afternoon we'll be wearing helmets and we'll be wearing neck restraint devices, and we'll be double checking those to make sure that they are buckled and secured. And then the last thing I like to do is just try to clear my mind, get focused on what we're about to do. You don't want anything that might be a distraction. Want to be totally focused 100% of the time. PDRs should already be recording. We're going to follow Neil's group out here, and I think they are going to roll in about 5 seconds here. So this whole session, as I mentioned earlier, and as I'm sure Rudy mentioned in the classroom, is just going to kind of be a low-speed familiarization, discovery session out there. We'll keep the pace down. We'll just talk about corner numbers. We'll talk about shift points. We'll talk about the cones and where we should be placing the car. If you're right behind me, you're going to try to put your car in the same tracks that I'm making. But try not to stare at the back bumper of the car in front of you. If especially if it's a student. If they make a mistake and you're staring at their taillights, you'll probably make the same mistake. So try to keep your eyes up looking at the racetrack out ahead. Try not to stare at that car right in front of you. Go ahead and step on the brake, pull up on the drive button, and then we're going to push that M button to get it into manual shift mode. As I mentioned, I will be calling out the shift points throughout the whole session. And let's go ahead and roll on out here. Just double check, make sure both windows are up. Just like to go through that checklist several times. It's easy to forget to do something, and then you get out here on the track and you're trying to make your way around the track, but you're also fumbling around trying to adjust your seat or get your PDR going. So I'm already pulling this right paddle. I'm up into third gear. If you've never used the paddles before, sometimes it's easy to forget to shift gears. So I will be calling out pretty much every shift throughout this whole session. Even if you don't think you need to make the gear change, please do it anyway, because that's going to be one less thing you're going to have to think about later on as we pick up the pace this afternoon and throughout the day tomorrow. These shift points should become muscle memory for you. So we are on our south track right now. We are not on the racetrack that we're going to use. We're just taxiing to the north track. We'll be entering the north track as we pass these three tall orange stanchion cones here. So looking to the right, I don't see anybody out there as it should be, and we're just going to slowly make our way on to the racetrack here. Whenever we pull into the track, we always want to stay off the racing line, so we'll stay to the left inside this white dotted blend line. And I'll check my passenger mirror, just make sure nobody's coming up on us. Just good safety protocol. So I'll pull the right paddle again, go up into fourth gear. You'll notice the braking cone on the left. That's where we're going to start to brake when we pick up the pace. As we approach turn 3, I'm going to pull the left paddle and drop back to third gear. The blue cone is a turning cone. So as soon as the front of the car gets to that blue cone, you're going to start your turn. The tall orange cone is an apex cone. You'll notice I'm right up on the red and white curb as we go by those tall orange cones. As we unwind out of turn 3, I'm going to pull the right paddle and go to fourth gear, heading into the chicane. The white cone with the orange sleeve or pink sleeve is a near apex, so we don't want to drive on those. That first one on the right there, you do not want to be on that curb. So we're in the roller coaster, or the S's, if you will. You'll notice I'm right up on each one of these apex curbs as we go by. And now we're approaching the bowl, turn 4. I want to be a foot off that white line on the left, where the white cone is. I'm going to downshift to third gear. We're going to put the car in the middle. Don't go too high up the hill. You don't want to be too tight on the inside. I'm looking out my driver's side window, and we want to be right up on this apex curb nice and tight as you go by the cone. As we go up the launch pad, I'm going to upshift to fourth gear again. So I'll pretty much do that upshift at the top. And now we're heading for turn 5A, which is a right-hander. This left-hand bend does not have a corner number. 5A has two apexes. As soon as the front of the car gets to the blue turn-in cone, you'll notice there's two orange cones. So we're just going to stay on the curb up the hill in between those two cones. Then we're going to push wide out to the left. I'm going to downshift to third gear for turn 5B, which is this right-hander. Again, I'm right up on the apex. And then we'll unwind all the way out to the left side. That's the only exit curb that we're going to use on the racetrack, is coming out of 5B there. I'm going to go back to fourth gear as I roll into the kink here on the right. We don't want to make too much of a turn out of the kink. Heading for turn 6, I'm on the white line. Try not to use the entrance curbing there, Conrad. We just want to be on the white line. Hugging the edge of the blacktop as we come around turn 6, approaching 7, down to third gear again, pulling that left paddle. I'll look to the right all the way down the straight before I turn in. So Conrad, we're going to do our first rotation as we come out of turn 7. I'm going to have you move all the way over to the right for me right now, and you're going to fall in behind Lucas in that red 187. So David and Lucas, you're going to stay to the left, and Conrad, again, you'll pull in behind Lucas in that red 187 there. So David, I'm in third gear, blue turning cone on the left, orange apex cone here, turn 1A on the right. Try to put the car on every one of these apex curves. 1B, rolling into turn 2, I'm going to pull the right paddle and go to fourth gear. And I'm going to unwind all the way out to the right side and touch that white line on the right. We want to use all the pavement that's available to us. And that's basically a lap. We're heading back to turn 3 where we started from. I don't want to dart over to the left. I just have to be on this white line at the blue turning cone. I'm going to go back to third gear with the left paddle, and we're going to look to the right. Try to meet the curb just before the cone on the right side there. Then we'll unwind a foot or two from the white line on the left and go back to fourth gear. Notice my brake lights. I'm on the brakes as I clip that apex. We're off the brakes as we crest the hill by the white near apex cone over there. Nice gentle steering inputs. Try to meet each one of these apex curves just before the cone. Now my steering wheel straight, David. I'm going to drop down to third gear. Turn 4. Look out your driver's side window. Again, don't go too high up the hill. We want to meet the curve just before the cone on the left. And as we crest the launch pad right here, we're going to go back to fourth gear. Pulling that right paddle. So visual scanning, I'm always moving my eyes, just trying to take in as much information as I can, so I'm not taken by surprise and I can put the car right where I want to put it. 5A, on the curb, in between the two cones. We're going to go all the way out to the edge of the blacktop, down to third gear, add a little bit of steering for 5B, and then all the way back to the left side. Try to get a nice straight steering wheel coming out of there, back to fourth gear, heading for the kink. Try not to use the entrance curb here at turn 6. I'm just touching the white line on the right side. And then we're going to hug the left side as we come around 6. Lots of firm brake pressure down to third gear before we turn in. 7, look to the right. I'll look all the way down to turn 1. And then, David, we're going to do another rotation. I'm going to have you move to the right. You're going to fall back behind Conrad in that white 195. Lucas and Conrad, you'll stay to the left. You can go to fourth gear momentarily. And then we're going to go back to third gear here for 1A. Notice I'm on the brakes all the way to that apex cone there. 1B here. As we head into turn 2, I'm going back to fourth gear. Unwind all the way out to the right, touch that white line coming out of 2. Wiggle your fingers, take a deep breath, make sure you're nice and relaxed and you're not strangling that steering wheel or holding your breath. Lucas, we're going back to third gear for turn 3. I try to do the downshift just before I get to the turn-in cone. As we unwind out, we'll accelerate a little bit and we'll go back to fourth gear, heading into the chicane. A little bit of brake pressure here, staying off that curb where the near apex cone is. I'm looking all the way down into the bowl. Try not to stare straight ahead right off the hood of the car. Nice straight steering wheel here. Lucas, foot off the white line, down to third gear. We'll put it in the middle, look to the left. Patient on the throttle, turn it all the way down to the bottom. Lots of steering. There you go. Back to fourth gear as we crest the launch pad. Again, as I roll through each corner, I'm pushing into the steering wheel with that outside palm. We're going to stay in fourth gear here into 5A. Don't downshift to third back there. We're going to do the downshift to third here at the turn-in cone for 5B, right here where I'm at. Unwinding all the way out to the left side, using lots of exit curbing there. Back to fourth gear, heading for the kink. Looking for the turning cone for 7. As I come around 6, I'm approaching that cone right now. Down to third gear, turn 7, I'll look all the way down to turn 1. I see that we have just about caught the other group. So what we're going to do, we're all going to move to the right. We're going to stop. Conrad, don't pull too close to Lucas in the red car because you are going to come around him in just a second. Wiggle your fingers. Take a deep breath, fellas. Make sure you're nice and relaxed. Make any adjustments to your seat or your air conditioning controls. We pulled over because we were about to run into the back of Neil's group, and I don't want them slowing us down. And also, we don't want to stop on line. Anytime we do if we get too separated and we have to kind of wait for some reason, we'll always pull offline on the straightaway here. So, Lucas, you're going to stay where you're at. Conrad and David, you're going to come around Lucas in the red car, pulling behind me in the silver car here, and Lucas, you'll pull in behind David in the gray car. So, Conrad, I'm going to third gear. I'm actually already in third gear. Notice how early I'm getting on this apex curve here at 1A. We're going to meet the curb here at 1B as well, both of them. And then I'm going to go to fourth gear as we roll into turn 2. I'm going to pick up the pace just a little bit. All the way out to the white line coming out of turn 2. I'm looking for the turn-in cone up here on the left. We'll start to brake from the braking cone. Just before I turn in, I'm going to downshift to third gear with the left paddle. And we're going to meet the apex curve just before the cone on the right. Try not to get there too early. All right, back to fourth gear, heading into the chicane. Nice gentle steering input through these S-turns, keeping the car nice and balanced. Conrad, my steering wheel straight. I'm going to drop to third gear right there. Look out your driver's side window. Try to put it on this red and white curve just before the cone on the left. There you go, good. Nice straight wheel coming up the launch pad, back to fourth gear. Bring it all the way over to the left to set up for this right-hander 5A. I'm still in fourth gear, balancing with the brakes. We're going to drop down to third gear here at the turn-in cone for 5B. Back to fourth gear as you unwind out. Nice straight steering wheel heading for the kink. Little bit of light brake pressure as we roll into 6. I'm keeping the car balanced. I'm going to drop down to third gear here for turn 7. So Conrad, we are going to do another rotation as we come out of turn 7. I'm going to have you move over to the right side for me. You'll fall in behind Lucas. David and Lucas, you guys can stay to the left. You can go to fourth gear for a moment. Conrad, just make sure you get the rotation done before you pass that second set of orange cones. David, I'm in third gear as we roll through 1A and 1B, and we're going to go to fourth gear into turn 2 right here. Unwind all the way out to the right side. When I say unwind, that means straighten up the steering wheel, right? We're unwinding the steering wheel. Lots of firm brake pressure. Down to third gear, David, pulling that left paddle. Look to the right. Follow me all the way into the apex. Gentle unwind out and accelerate. Back to fourth gear. Into the chicane. Little brake pressure here. Looking all the way down into the bowl. Nice gentle steering input. Keeping the car balanced. My steering wheel straight right here. Foot off the white line. Down to third gear. Look to the left. Bring it all the way in nice and tight. Keep turning. There you go. Going to fourth gear as you crest the launch pad. Watch my brake lights here. David, I'm still on the brakes. Just slight brake pressure. I'm still in fourth gear. All the way out to the edge of the blacktop, down to third gear, add a little bit of steering to the right, and then unwind all the way out to the left side. Use that exit curve. Fourth gear. Light brake pressure, balancing into turn 6. Firm brake pressure for turn 7. Down to third gear, look to the right. David, we're going to do another rotation. You're going to move to the right. You're going to follow behind Conrad in the white 195. Lucas and Conrad, you can stay to the left and go to fourth gear. Once again, just remind yourself to stay relaxed. Lucas, I'm in third gear. Turn 1A and 1B. And fourth gear going into 2. All the way out to the white line. Lots of firm brake pressure. Down to third gear, look to the right. Notice I'm just coming off the brakes there. Alright, fourth gear as we unwind into the chicane here. Again, a little bit of brake pressure. Start looking all the way down into the bowl. Nice straight steering wheel right here, foot off the white line. Down to third gear, look to the left. Be patient on the throttle until you start to unwind the steering wheel. Fourth gear as you crest the launch pad. Alright, again, watch my brakes here. Look, it's still on the brakes. It's coming off right there. You're a little bit wide. You want to get on that curve. Down to third gear. Alright, fourth gear coming out of 5 feet. Alright, Lucas, good job. Down to third gear for 7. All the way in, nice and tight. You got a little piece of it. You got to turn the wheel a little more, Lucas, and get it up on that apex curve. Let's all move to the right. Actually, Lucas, you can stay right. Conrad and David, you're going to come around Lucas. Let's put the left turn signal on to indicate we will be exiting the racetrack here. Lucas, you'll pull in behind David. If you get car sick, or if you have to exit the track independent of your group, this is how we do it. When you come off that turn 7 down the straightaway, you'll just keep going straight through the barricades there. And then if you were independent of your group, you would just kind of stop here and the rover would come over and find out what the issue is. But if you get car sick, or if you just don't want to do anymore, you can't exit the track there. So great job, guys. Just kind of a quick introductory to the racetrack. Hopefully you're excited about getting back out there and starting to pick up the pace a little bit. A couple things I need you to do here. Go ahead and push stop recording on your PDRs. You're going to push that red dot